Hey, this is Chad here with 72 Cowboy Media. I want to welcome you to the 72 CM podcast.
Tend to you later. Now for this young whippersnapper.
Now, no harm has been done. And young Ben here is one of the nicest boys in the territory, so just put down that shotgun and
I'll
let's
teach
forget
him to fool with Mike.
Now, we'll all calm down.
Boss, he's just a little excited.
I know. I'm going to use good judgment. I haven't lost my temper in 40 years. But, Pilgrim, you caused a lot of trouble this morning. Might have got somebody killed. And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. The hell I won't.
Okay, so on this episode of the 72 CM podcast, I want to delve into one of my favorite Western movie actors of all time, one of the guys that basically introduced me to Westerns, and that is John Wayne.
Tell you he's that good. And Mr. Jason, I see you don't wear a gun. So I guess you always hire it done. So I'll give you a little piece of advice. If this bunch is all you've got, don't tangle with Hera, because they don't look tough enough to me to stomp a stringy jackrabbit.
I think the biggest thing for me about John Wayne is the characters that he created in those movies. Some of the best Westerns that I truly enjoy, Rio Bravo, El Dorado, even Rio Lobo or The Alamo. Those are some of my favorite movies that I can watch over and over again. And they just have this, he just brought such status to each of those movies and each of those legendary characters that he created out of those movies. And, you know, you could say, was he one of the greatest of all time? Or is he just reusing the same character over and over again? Maybe you change his name or whatever. In my mind, he just figured out a way to set himself apart. Another movie that he really kind of delved into his character deeply a little more, I could name basically three more movies. The Searchers, Who Shot Liberty Valance, and even The Alamo is a little bit different than what that he's normally used to, because it was such an ensemble cast, and he was producer, director of that, and that was kind of one of his lifelong dreams, was to recreate the scene and setting of The Alamo. But another movie I think that really kind of broke it for him, even though it was towards the end of his career, was True Grit.
Farrell, you and your brother stand clear. I got no interest in you today. Stand clear and you won't get hurt.
What's your intention? Do you think 1 on 4's a dog fall?
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned. Or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which'll it be?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
I think another part of his legacy that basically he left behind was his family, because he had been married and had a bunch of kids, and basically they have set forth their, the history of John Wayne. They have the John Wayne experience down in, I think it was at the stockyards down in Texas. And they have a clothing line and just all the artifacts, all the things that he left behind that really set him apart from everybody else. And the legacy and the legend that he left behind was such a huge footprint that nobody will be able to fill those shoes, let alone what his family can do. But they definitely are keeping his legendary status alive, his legendary career alive, which is an important thing, because as the generations come along, I think it is important to not only watch these movies, but talk about the man who is John Wayne. From movie star to father to, who he was as a friend, and somebody that you could truly rely on, and definitely pop in a DVD, start a streaming service, and watch what he does on the movie screen.
Behind us.
I don't know how we're gonna stop him from here.
Is that who I think it is?
That was Stumpy, the fella I left behind.
Hey, Senor Chance, don't shoot, it's me.
Carlos, what are you doing here?
I bring you some more shells. You might need them, senor.
Turn up next.
Maybe the girl in another flower pot. Hey, Chance, Stumpy's sitting in a bad place. That wagon's got dynamite in it. I go tell him, senor.
You stay here, I'll go get him. Give me those shells.
I think one of the more interesting parts about John Wayne is the quotes that he came out with, or the life lessons that you could learn, or that he showed everybody as far as who he was and the characters and what he believed in. You could also believe in too. One of his more famous quotes, "Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway," is truly a life lesson that you could take forth and just use at a moment's notice when things don't quite go your way. And someone like John Wayne, who embodied strength, who embodied masculinity in a way that was definitely fruitful and encouraging, and that you could look upon and say, if he can do it, so can I.
Well, thanks, friend. If you don't insist on having them to yourself, I'll give you a hand.
Pleasure, friend.
You must be Jim Bowie. The size and shape is as described, and this knife is certainly everything I heard it was.
I'm Bowie.
I'm Davy Crockett.
Well, I've heard a lot about you.
I've heard a lot about you, too. I'd admire to buy you a drink, or 8 or 10.
Well, excuse me. You have some trouble with Emil Sand?
Who's Emil Sand?
Merchant?
Tall fella, butter-colored hair?
Yeah, that's him.
I've had some words with him. Intend to have some more. How about that drink?
Honored Congressman Crockett.
Oh, please, Jim, don't call me that. I've been trying to live it down.
Recently, I picked up one of my now favorite books to read, was The John Wayne Code. And in this book are probably some of the best quotes he's ever had or has had said in the past that has been encouraging. It talks about self-reliance. It talks about grit, the kind of grit that he had, who he represented and what he represented, not only in his films, but also in his normal everyday life. And that truly is something that's so encouraging, because you can learn so much from John Wayne. Not just his movies, but from his, behind the scenes, his family, the legacy that he has built, has continued on with his family. His kids are continuing with his legacy. They have the John Wayne Experience. They have, multiple social media platforms talking about John Wayne, talking about some of the movies that came out and who he, was a part of and who he dealt with on a day-to-day basis in the movie industry. And it's so fascinating to me that this one guy, a guy that was born in Illinois, moved to California, and made a name for himself through his own true grit, is one of those things that puts you on a legendary status that can't ever be duplicated.
Why was it cowboy films in particular that interested you?
Well, it wasn't a case of what it interested me. It was a case of that which I fit in best. I was of 6'4", which is fairly tall man at the time in pictures, and all the leading ladies are small, so I, you know, you're all bent over like this with those leading ladies. So I fit the background of Westerns better. And in those days they needed, you know, they didn't spend quite as much money on doubles and things as they do today, and they expected you to be rugged enough to do a little of this stuff, so I fit that category.
John Wayne's legendary status and the movies that he created are some of the best movies, and one of those things that you could learn a lot of life lessons through. So I highly recommend. Even if it's some of the standard ones that you've seen multiple times over, I would encourage you to go back and look at some of the other more earlier versions of the films that he's been a part of and watch the progress that he made, because truly one of the best things that John Wayne could do is he could adapt, he could understand, he could morph and change and become whatever character that he needed to become. And still, on the movie screen, he was larger than life. And he was truly one of a kind.